This is Brendan Dilley. He is a MAGA extremist to the core, and he has said some deeply disturbing stuff. Listen to this.
So you better pray to God, and I mean this literally, or whoever the f*** it is you pray to.
He's talking to the left.
Okay? That Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, and Attorney General Barr clean this up lawfully.
This is an older video. I'm just trying to show you the mindset, and then we're going to move to some more recent ones.
Because if for any reason the President of the United States feels that it's not getting done the way it should, and decides to put out the tweet that says...
He's talking about, like, after the election when Trump lost, he said, basically, Trump is trying to clean this up lawfully, but if he puts out the tweet...
To put out the tweet that says, my fellow Americans, my fellow 2A loving Americans, it's time to take up arms against these assholes. You are all in under an hour. Under 1 hour, you're done. Every one of you. We're all just at home, hanging out, or we're on vacation like me right now, watching you idiots behave the way you do.
Behave like what is my first question. And second, imagine how f***ed in the head you have to be to believe that this is a solution to anything and to be willing to do such a thing. How absolutely whacked out do you have to be? Seriously. Do you know the people who oppose war the most is veterans? Because human beings are not supposed to see the shit that people see in war. It will absolutely mess your head up to be in war. And this guy is not only not afraid of dealing, like, of being in a war and actually, like, killing other people, he is excited for it. We have a MAGA problem here. We're going to have to deal with this MAGA problem one way or another. These people are as brainwashed as it gets. They are out of their heads insane. You know, I used to say there's one way out of this, to basically do Socratic reasoning on family members. Everybody should be doing Socratic reasoning, like street epistemology, asking them why they believe these things. If they didn't have the evidence that they believe that they have, if they didn't have the evidence that Hillary Clinton is a lizard person, like they say they do, then would they still believe it? You know, work them into a corner non-confrontationally. And when you do that, inevitably, they always say, I just believe it on faith. It always boils down to faith. But I don't think that that's the solution anymore. After seeing some of the shit that we've seen recently, I believe the solution is going to be full denazification efforts. That's how we have to dig our way out of this as a country. We'll talk about denazification in a minute and how it worked and what I think we should be doing, but just keep listening here. There's more.
Waiting for that one tweet, that one emergency text message from the f***ing President of the United States that gives us the green light to finish this entire thing in under an hour. It will not be law enforcement. It will not be one of these slow, bureaucratic justice system wheels of justice turning. It'll be a group of people you didn't even know f***ing existed because we were at our houses, we got off work, we were with our families, but we were ready for that call. And if that call ever does come, you will be 7 ways from Sunday. So I suggest you back down.
So, yeah, he was saying he suggests that we just let Trump take the presidency in 2020 instead of Biden. That's what he was saying. Not for nothing, but this is mirroring nearly identically the Turner Diaries, the supposed most dangerous book in the world. It's a sci-fi novel that I've talked about. I actually did a video about it if you want to see it. It's on my main channel, the Turner Diaries. And it's just a story of a dude that turns into a domestic terrorist. And it explains how to counterfeit money and how to make bombs and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's uncensored completely. It was written by a neo-Nazi and a physics professor, fascinatingly. It's just like really, really disturbing to see people like this completely gone. Just their heads are gone. Fully ready to go, you know, like, God, Gestapo isn't even the right word. What's the right word? Fully ready to go domestic terrorist. Just straight up domestic terrorist. That's what he is, right? This one is from 2024. It's a little more recent. I'm sorry if there's a lot of swearing and a lot of bad language. He's very foul. He's just like a foul human being all the way around.
You motherfuckers trying to play the moral high ground game with me? In 2024, there's nothing I won't fucking do or say. Nothing. It's war. I view you as a fucking enemy of the country. I will do anything
But they assume
necessary.
we're only going to go to this line.
You can't shame
That's not
conservatives.
us.
No,
That's
you.
not us.
But that's not even MAGA anymore. It's not even just you and I. Republicans don't give a if you think we're good people anymore.
Honestly, I've been saying this for a while. You remember that old saying, they go low, we go high? I respect the hell out of the sentiment. It's not going to get us anywhere. I don't want to go low. That's not my goal. We're treading water at best, and at this immediate moment in history, we are underwater. As people who hate fascism, it's going to be an uphill battle to bring people back to reality. We're going to have to go full denazification. We have no choice on that, it seems. So keep listening, and we'll hit denazification.
We don't care. You don't think we're going to you square in the ass every chance we get after what you've done to this country? After you stole a fucking election?
Retribution.
You call me an immoral, godless scumbag. I don't care, motherfucker.
Real Christian and
Don't
stuff.
care. Call me a criminal. Call me a liar. I don't give a
Fucking war, baby.
Words mean nothing. So you can save the moral high ground, virtue signaling bullshit for a Republican that's still stupid enough to play those fucking games. But it ain't me, dude. Fucking print that. Dilley goes on show, says he...
Bro, I like the occasional swear myself. I love saying the word. But is there a line anywhere for this guy? Anywhere. You're talking to a gigantic audience, and I know everybody says swears in their life. They've probably been saying them since 5th grade. I know I have. It's not that big of a deal, but seriously, can you not, speak like a human being for 5 minutes?
Lie, cheat, and steal, will stomp my fucking head into the grass. It doesn't matter. You're absolutely right.
So, anyway, that's Brendan Dilley. He's actually well known in the Trump sphere, in the MAGA sphere. So well known, in fact, that he was personally invited to Mar-a-Lago for Donald Trump's announcement that he's running for president again in 2024. Brendan Dilley is actually the creator of the meme team, quote unquote. It's like this group of people online that create memes. Brendan Dilley is the leader of it. He owns it, and he's been, they have logos and everything. And he made this gem right here. I don't know if you remember this.
And on June 14th, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump.
God, it's so cringy, dude. It's awful. Anyway, it's 3 straight minutes of that. I don't even know what you call that. I'm trying to think of a description. Anyway, Brendan Dilley did that, and his little team. He was invited to Mar-a-Lago for Trump's announcement that he's running in 2024.
I just got invited to Mar-a-Lago for President Trump's announcement tomorrow night. So I am going down to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow. I'm leaving immediately after the show is over. I am flying in.
Hey, Gilbert Gottfried, you don't have a voice where you can say that type of thing in that tone.
I'm being picked up by mad liberals at the airport, and I am heading to Mar-a-Lago for an announcement from President Donnie J. Trump. And I am extremely nervous about this because, as you know, I am a basement-dwelling nerd who lives in his mother's house and doesn't normally go out into the public.
For some reason, I'm not surprised by that. Anyway, this is another gem from Brendan Dilley.
Trump 2020. What's our strategy, guys? First rule of Trump 2020. Controlling the media. How do we do it? It doesn't have to be true. It just has to go viral. We're destroying them at their own game. Dilley, where did you hear about that? I don't know. I made that up. You're a liar? For now.
The point is, this guy is about as low as it gets, and he doesn't care. He revels in that fact. And these are the people that have taken over at this moment. Now, I don't want you guys to feel too down about what's going on, because I believe that there will be another Democratic president. Elections do still function in this country right now, if for no other reason than because elections are state-run, not federal-run. That's important. That's a separation of power. That's a check on power that the Founding Fathers put into the Constitution. In retrospect, that was a fantastic idea, right? And I believe that Trump is not respecting institutions, but I think that most other people will. And when Trump kicks it, when it's over for him, I don't believe anybody is going to be able to command MAGA with as much authority as Trump can right now. He hasn't named a successor. There won't be a successor. Even if he named a successor, say it's Don Jr., people really going to follow Don Jr. the way that they follow Donald Trump? No. He's a loser cokehead, as far as anybody can tell. That being said, we do still have a Fox News problem after Trump kind of, when he slips on that banana peel of life, we're going to have a Fox News problem. My overall point here, though, is that MAGA exists and they're loud at this immediate moment. But when a Democrat takes power again, which I do believe that they will, they're going to go back to their corners to sulk. But we do live in a country that has been completely radicalized in a fascist ideology. This is another ad that Brendan Dilley created, the meme team. It's pretty short, and it doesn't mean much to you at first glance, probably. Just listen to this.
What happens after Donald Trump wins? What's for America? The economy booms. American energy is unleashed and an end to crushing taxes. The border is closed and the largest deportation in history is underway. No more wars.
This is May 21st, 2024, by the way. No more wars. I love it. They're prepping for war with Iran right now, by the way. J.D. Vance cannot command MAGA the way that Trump does, by the way. I saw somebody say that earlier. He could not possibly. He could be president, probably, but he couldn't command MAGA that way.
As we focus on home, law and order is restored.
Anyway, you know what? This is kind of interesting. What else did they say? Law and order is restored, huh? Okay.
The American dream is back, and the best is yet to come. Make America great again.
So you probably didn't notice because it's kind of hard to pick out of all of this stuff happening on screen, but if you look real close, you'll notice, I have it in this screenshot here, it says that they're trying to create a unified Reich. These newspaper articles that they used as stock footage were from Nazi-era Germany. I mean, does it get any more on the nose than that? You cannot tell me that he didn't know that. Of course he knew that. His response to that was, you know what, let me see if I can find his response. Hang on. No. Wait, did Brendan Dilley, yes, he ran for Congress in Arizona, finished 11th in the Republican primary with just over 1% of the vote. I had no idea. Anyway, I can't find the video. I'll try to find it later because it's actually really valuable to have in my collection. But Brendan Dilley basically says these newspapers are from World War I. Nazis didn't exist before World War I or during or after World War I. Actually, these newspapers are from like 1922 or something, or 1921. That's when the Nazis formed. And also, the idea of the Reich exists because Germans believe that, or believed at the time that Germany was this big, great, powerful thing. They're incredible. They need to control the world. They need to own everything and all of that other stuff. They had a monarchy under Wilhelm II going into World War I in 1914 area. And after World War I was lost, Wilhelm II went into exile in the Netherlands. He lost the mandate of the people, he lost everything, and they formed a true democracy after World War I, 1918 basically. Maybe December 1918. They formed a democratic republic nearly identical to the United States government, surprisingly. Very, very similar. And I think in 1922, the Nazi Party started to rise. Hitler became the leader of the Nazi Party in 21 or 22, I believe, is when they renamed it to the Nazi Party, and he became the chancellor or whatever. or the chair, whatever you call it. And he spent the next 10 years whipping people into a blood frenzy over Jews and how evil they were and everything. However, all of that fervor and hate and ire and like vile, trashy insanity was already there in the background. It had already existed in Germany since the 1860s. This anti-Jewish thing already existed. You know, anti-immigrant hate has existed in the US for a while now, right? Trump did not invent anti-immigrant hate. It's the same in Germany. Hitler did not invent anti-immigrant hate or anti-Jewish hate in their case. So the fact that these are from World War I rather than World War II is completely irrelevant. It means absolutely nothing. He used newspapers that are basically calling for like a new Nazi revolution, either way you look at it. And that brings me to my final point. I think we're going to have to do full denazification efforts when a Democrat takes control again. Denazification was very oppressive at the time, but for good reason, obviously. I mean, they just killed a whole bunch of people. We needed to get that under control as the United States. So here's how the denazification efforts kind of started and how they went. They did denazification for between a year and a half and 3 years, I believe. And it entailed banning the swastika from appearing on public property, banning preachers from preaching about politics. That one was particularly important. Just trying to think for a second. And maybe most importantly, they constructed this thing called Spruchhammer courts. And they sent every member of the Nazi Party through this court system. And they ranked them 1 to 5. If they were 5s, then it meant that they were members of the Nazi Party on paper, but they showed evidence of like fighting against the regime in one way or another. They were let off the hook. 4 was people who just weren't involved at all. They were technically a member on paper, but they didn't, participate in anything. They were let off the hook. Number 3 was people who were members and believers and active, going around and talking about it and spreading the good news, if you will. 4 were people directly involved in the party, like block wardens or leaders of the Hitler Youth or whatever. And 5 were arch criminals, Hitler's inner circle. Anybody that was 3 or lower pretty much faced consequences for their actions. If they were involved in the party and true believers, they were charged with war crimes. Although the less involvement that they had in the whole thing, the lower their sentence was. And they could also get something called Persilschein letters. Persil was the fabric detergent, the laundry detergent that they used. And you could get a Persilschein letter from a victim, a Jew, like anybody, a victim of the Nazi system. Commonly Jews would write these Persilschein letters for people. In one case, a guy named Victor Brack, I think, something Brack, wrote a letter to somebody that was in a concentration camp where he was the guard. And Brack asked the guy for a Persilschein letter. He said, "I didn't do anything to you, and I'm hoping that you can vouch for me." And the guy's wife wrote back and said, "My husband has been up through, countless nights thinking this over and determined that this would be impossible because as you didn't do anything to him, that is not sufficient as the basis upon which we need to rebuild society. All right, you didn't do anything, but you watched while other people did it. That's not good enough, basically." I don't know which parts of this we're going to need to implement when we eventually take control again. But if we don't do that, if we don't denazify, this is going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to get populist, extremist, right-wing nutcases taking control and trampling all over everyone's rights and sending them to fucking concentration camps again. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Will we get an opportunity to denazify? Should we denazify? And what of those denazification tactics should we implement if the time came? Tell me your thoughts.